Over the next fortnight here on 9, as you've no doubt heard already, our commentators at the figure skating will be those legendary British ice dancers, Jane Torval and Christopher Dean. Tonight they complete the last of their performances on what's been a sellout United States tour for them, and Jane and Chris will join us here on our Winter Olympics telecast tomorrow night. As I said, Jane and Chris are ice dancers, somewhat different to the event you're about to see, the pairs figure skating. Ice dancing is ballroom dancing on ice. All moves must be able to be duplicated on a dance floor, while pair skating is the pairing of two singles who perform in unison all the jumps, moves and spins you find in single skating. The Russians dominate in this event. They've won 10 out of the 18 Winter Olympics medals for pairs skating over the past 2 decades, with the famous Protopopov starting that golden run. This time around, the favourites are Russians again, Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov. So let's go to the Stampede Corral for the pairs figure skating. Your commentator, Alan Weeks.
Canada's leading skaters, Denise Benning and Lyndon Johnston, coming out for the short program. The short program in the pair skating, which counts for something like 28% of the total marks. They've got 7 required elements that they have to put into the 2 minutes and 15 seconds of skating, and I'll point out those required elements. There's the lasso lift. Double twist lift. Now the set spin. Timing is very important in this, and there's the change foot. Very nicely timed. Now there's the serpentine step sequence, which is a step sequence which covers the whole of the ice surface in a large S formation. See, they've come around one side, they're moving around and coming back down towards the side of the rink again. Was the double toe salto. Now the pair spin. Well, some very novel movements in that. Just one element left now. They've done 6. The last one will be the death spiral. Here it is. The back inside edge. That's it, and as expected, a mighty roar from inside the Stampede Corral as the top Canadians, and with this, well, shall we say almost 99.5% Canadian audience. First set of marks for the required elements. The highest mark is 5.6. That's from the United States and from Canada. The lowest mark from Great Britain and from West Germany, 5.3. So they run from 5.3 to 5.6. Sally Stapleford, by the way, is the British judge. Sally, who was a European silver medalist herself. That was for the required elements. Now for the presentation, I would have thought we might have got better, and we have 5.6s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.6s, down to 5.4s. So those are the marks that are setting the standard for this competition. Lisa and Neil Cushley from Stockton. Second in the British Championships, 10th in the European Championships. Skating to black bottom stomp. twist lift. Just a little out of time there on that spin. Good death spiral. Larisa and Cushley. Nice short program. Just that one perhaps being sort of super critical. They're just slightly out of time on the set spin, but for the rest of it, they did it very nicely indeed.
4.7, 4.7, 4.6.
Here now, the marks required elements, and they run from 4.7 from the West German and the Australian and Canadian judges with Czechoslovakia, 4.6 from Poland, and 4.5 again from the British judge, Sally Stapleford. But as if she is marking all the skaters down, then it doesn't really make any difference to where she places them. She might be 1 point less than the others, but it's just a question of how she marks each one in comparison to another skater.
Brigitte, Groh, and Holger Maletz.
Usually means a replay, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
For required elements. 4.9, 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, 5.0, 4.8, 4.8, 5.0, 4.8, 4.9, 4.8, 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, 5.0, 5.0, 5.0, 4.8. Et notre présentation, our presentation, 5.0, 4.8, 4.7, 4.7, 5.0, 4.8, 4.9, 5.
In the sport of pairs figure skating, over the years the Soviet Union has been as dominant as it has been in the game of chess. Here in Calgary they have the gold medal favourites again, Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov, the reigning world and European champions. At the recent European titles in Prague, they did extremely well to win the gold medal after young Ekaterina had suffered concussion 3 weeks earlier when she crashed to the ice while practising one of their breathtaking tosses in the air. Their trademark is the quadruple twist lift, which no other pair in the world are able to perform. She is just 4 foot 11 inches tall in the old terms. He's a full foot taller at 5'11". Here tonight at the Winter Olympic Games in Calgary, this great pair, Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov.
Champions of the world, the champions of Europe. Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov of the Soviet Union. Tapping with them. Ekaterina Gordeeva, Sergei Grinkov. What a marvellous personality that girl's got, and what marvellous pair skaters they are. Just listen to that applause. That's tremendous for a compulsory part of a championship. Look at the height there. If anyone does better than this, I'll be very surprised.
5.8,
Required elements then, they've got a 5.9 from the Soviet Union, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 5.8s, and just 1 5.7 from West Germany on the left there. So that really does set a very high standard. That's for the required elements. Now, for for the presentation, which was very good.
Marks for presentation, 5.9.
Yes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 5.9s. The other 5.8s. I've got a funny feeling that Gordeeva and Grinkov are going to win this short program and set themselves up for another championship. And now the British champions, Cheryl Peake and Andrew Naylor. Two left. nice short program by Peake and Naylor. Everything there, no mistakes, good timing on the spins. They should be very pleased with that. Certainly a very good reception from the crowd. And so here are the first set of marks, required elements. The highest is 5.1 from the British judge, Sally Stapleford, and the lowest is 4.7 from Australia. The others in between, 4.9s, 4.7s, 4.8s, 5 dead. But there, a reasonable set of marks. The presentation set. Well, they've got 5.1 again, but this time from the United States, the Soviet Union, and from Great Britain, down to a 4.1. Elena Valova and Oleg Vasiliev. Well, that's the sort of skating that we saw from them last year. Of course, they didn't compete in this year's European Championship because of injury, but last year they were second in both the European and the Worlds, and they are the Olympic gold medalists of '84. Double toe sulco, nicely timed, as is the footwork. Well, Gordeeva and Grinkov, they got 1 5.7, 7 5.8s, and 1 5.9. So it'll be interesting to see how Valova and Vasiliev compare with those marks. That's for the required elements. For presentation, Gordeeva and Grinkov got 5 5.8s and 4 5.9s. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4 5.5s, and the highest mark is a 5.8, and that is from the United States. So those marks not as good as Gordeeva and Grinkov. However, that's going to keep them in middle challenging position, no doubt about that. The presentation marks.
Marks for presentation for la présentation. 5.8, 5.6, 5.7.
Well, there's 1, 2, 5.8s, 5.7, 5.6s, and 1 5.5 from East Germany. So that will put them in the second place behind Gordeeva and Grinkov at this stage of the competition. From the United States now, Jill Watson and Peter Oppegard. They were bronze medalists in last year's World Championship. That was a very good lasso. She's very tiny compared with him. Notice they jumped off different feet in the double toe salco there. And that was really high too. Well, that was quite deserving of that tumultuous applause. That's the closest we've seen to challenging the Soviets so far. Jill Watson and Peter Oppegard of the United States. Very nice short program indeed. So the first set of marks for the required elements. United States gives them 5.8. But the East German judge has given a 5.2. That is very much lower than the rest of the judges, who are all very much in accord. 5.2 from the East German, the rest of them very much the same. So that's for the required elements. One might expect that the presentation marks would be better.
Marks for presentation.
And they are. And the East German judge this time gives 5.6, GDR being the East German judge. So that puts them into third place at the moment.
Schwartz and König.
The champions of the German Democratic Republic, Peggy Schwartz and Alexander König. Bronze medalist in the European Championships in Prague. That was a good start. Oh, what a pity. Fall on the double toe Selko. Well, one of the things you've got to do in skating is to get up and get on with it and get back into it, and she's just done that. Excellent lasso lift. from that one very sad moment. A good program indeed. I think she's going to be very disappointed about that fall in the double flip. That's a double toe salcho. Well, the fall, of course, had to be punished, and it has been. Canada gives 5. West Germany gives 5. The East German gives his skaters 4.9. But 4.4 from Australia. So, and I'm afraid is, well, they set them back as far as this Olympic Games is concerned. Presentation.
Marks for presentation, les notes pour la présentation. 5.4, 5.5.
As expected.
5.4.
Little 5s. 5.5 from West Germany to 5.3. So the judges very much in accord there.
Well, from East Germany, home of gold medal women's figure skating favourite Ekaterina Witt, there we have Peggy Schwarz and Alexander König. Disappointment etched all over the face of Peggy Schwarz. However, those mighty Russians, tiny Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov, still most definitely the couple to beat. And we'll be back with more of the pairs in just a moment.
George Jackson had no body.
Viewers right around the world, you are watching the 15th Winter Olympics in Calgary, Canada, where the figure skating action this evening is at the Stampede Corral. This is the pairs, the next couple from the United States, Gillian Wachsman and Todd Waggoner.
Representing the United States, des États-Unis, Gillian Wachsman and Todd Waggoner.
From the United States, Gillian Wachsman and Todd Waggoner, 7th in the world last year. They're going to use some Russian dance music. Good twist, good height on it. And a double flip, also well performed. The time fractionally when they changed it. Well, a very entertaining short program indeed, apart from the fact that they did all the required elements. They certainly entertained everyone, particularly with that combination of spins at the end there. And the marks for the required elements. The highest again is 5.6 from the United States and from Australia. The others 5.4s, 5.5s, but down to 5.2 from Canada. Well, they're going up to 5.7 on this case, but still down as far as 5.2 from the Canadian judge. Again, this time a chorus of boos from the Canadian audience, I have to say.
Larisa, Selezneva and Oleg Makarov.
Larisa, Selezneva and Oleg Makarov of the Soviet Union. Last year they were the European champions. This year they were the silver medalists. Well, perfect timing on that. Oh, great height then. Oh, a stumble there. And it's the same fella. Oleg has made 2 mistakes, and that, I think, will put them out of the reckoning. That was a very, very good death spiral. She was almost on the ice. Well, what a shame about that fall, because they skate with such verve. They move around the ice very well. They're very powerful skaters. And he had a slight stumble at one end of the rink. I don't think he'd really got over it before he went into that double flip. Well, Larisa really looked very, very upset as she came off the ice. And understandable, because they've been skating since 1984 in the European and World Championships. Always done well. 4th, 2nd, champion, 2nd. But this time, I'm afraid, it's all gone against them. There's Sally Stapleford, the British judge, who has given a 5.1 in the first set of marks, and they've taken one look at those marks. They're not going to wait. They've gone, because they know that has really put them right behind. The highest there is 5.3 from Poland, East Germany and the United States. The others 5.2s. West Germany gives 5-0. So they've gone way back to the dressing room.
Well, mixed emotions, no doubt, in the Soviet camp. That unfortunate fall by Oleg Makarov costing him and his partner dearly. But the gold medal favourites, as you can see, Ekaterina Gordeeva and Sergei Grinkov leading the competition after the action tonight. Lying second, the defending title holders, also from the Soviet Union, Elena Valova and Oleg Vasiliev, with America's Jill Watson and Peter Oppegard third. Fourth, Gillian, Wachsman and Todd Waggoner, also from the US, with the local pair, Canada's Denise and Lyndon Johnston in fifth. Sixth, the pair that suffered that bad luck just a moment ago, Russia's Larisa Selezneva and Oleg Makarov.